Want to know every single thing that was added in DBD this year? Well, in today's video, we're gonna find out. What's going on, guys? Sharpshot here. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. So for today's video, we'll be looking at everything that was added into DBD in the year 2022. This was a big year for DBD, and there were a ton of additions to the game. So with that being said, I'm not gonna include the super minor ones like cosmetics, voice lines, bug fixes, and any minor UI or setting changes. In the year 2022, there was 25 patches, 8 PTBs, 3 new chapters, equating to 3 new killers and 4 new survivors, 4 new tome entries, 4 events, and a bunch more additions that I'm going to be explaining right now. I'm also going to be uploading all the things that were removed from DBD in 2022 next week, so stay tuned for that video. And if it's already up by the time you're watching this, make sure to check it out after this video. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Patch 5.5.0 introduced the Lurking Stripes event, which was a limited time event celebrating the Lunar New Year starting on January 25th, which you were able to unlock a bunch of Lunar New Year cosmetics. The beta tab was introduced into the settings, which was meant for behavior to be able to test new features in the live build of DBD. To this day, only one beta has been tested, and you can still test it now, and it's the new wiggle skill checks, which were also introduced in this update, which replaced the old skill checks of spamming A and D back and forth to now doing skill checks back and forth while you're wiggling, which made it a lot more accessible to players not having to button smash anymore. Speaking of the settings, hold or toggle interaction features were introduced, which back then you only had hold, so if you're on a gen you had to hold the button to stay on the gen, but if you turned on toggle, you were able to tap onto the gen, let go of your controller or keyboard, and then you could tap whenever you want to leave the gen, which just reduced the amount of buttons you have to be pressing. And they also introduced a run to cancel feature on the survivor side, similar to this, where you could just tap your run button to let go of certain actions. A new version of Gearhead was introduced, aimed to be able to use the perk in a wider amount of situations, but looking back, not that many people still use Gearhead. File compression was also added to DBD so that new updates can be downloaded faster, and when you're switching from the live build to the PTB, you don't have to completely re-download the game. Only a certain files switch, so it's really fast going back and forth. Finally, Tome 10 featuring the pig and tap was introduced, along with my personal favorite colored glyphs, the white glyphs. The 5.6.0 patch didn't really introduce much outside of chapter 23, which was the Sadako Rising chapter, which featured a new killer called the Onryo and her 3 teachables. She happens to be Sadako from the Ring movies, and she's probably the worst killer in the game as it stands right now. It also introduced a new survivor called Yoichi Asakawa and his 3 teachables. The 5.7.0 patch introduced a huge rework for Legion, along with his power and a bunch of add-ons being buffed. He also got a brand new tear radius that also changes depending on the new mixtape add-ons you use on him, and you can combine these mixtapes together to make a bunch new tear radius sounds. But in his Feral Frenzy, a new feature allows him to down a survivor with 1 shot on the 5th Feral Frenzy hit. Nice, alright, we got that. Alright, we got it. Oh, we're about to get someone else. Ah! Similar to Legion, Ghostface also got his power and add-ons buffed, and he also got a new tear radius that was introduced in this patch, but it sounded really bad, so they ended up scrapping it and reintroducing a new one in 5.7.2, and that's the one that's still in the game today. The Haddonfield map finally got its new rework after being away from the game for so many months. I still miss old Haddonfield to this day as a survivor main. It was such a crazy good map for the survivors, but it's now a lot more fair for both killers and survivors, so let me know in the comments if you like old or new Haddonfield better. The Hemorrhage status effect got completely reworked, where if you're applied with this status effect, your healing progress regresses all the way back down to 0 really quickly, which also made a bunch of Hemorrhage status effect perks like Sloppy Butcher that much better. A new killer difficulty rating scheme was introduced for the killers, where they're now more accurately placed in categories of easy, medium, hard, or very hard. Tome 11 was also added, featuring David King and the twins, and also introducing the green glyphs, which are my personal least favorite glyphs. I absolutely hate trying to find these glyphs. The 6.0.0 patch introduced chapter 24, which was called Roots of Dread, featuring a new killer called the Dredge and his 3 teachables, along with a new survivor called Hattie Carr and her 3 teachables. The Twisted Masquerade event also started on June 16th, celebrating DBD's 6th year anniversary, in which you could unlock a bunch of really unique masks for the original survivors and killers. And the chapter also introduced a new map called the Garden of Pain. Sorry, I definitely meant the Garden of Joy, but let me know in the comments if you actually like this map. A new killer perk was also introduced called Shattered Hope, and this is a general perk, meaning that it's available to unlock in any of the killers' blood webs. And I unfortunately do not remember the last time I've seen this perk in game. There also was a complete overhaul for a new main menu UI, which was really trippy at first with everything on the left side instead of at the bottom, but I had forgotten it had even been changed before I started doing research for this video, so honestly I don't really mind the change. And a new loadout and outfit presets tab was introduced, so you could save up to 3 perk loadouts and 3 outfit loadouts per character, which was honestly one of the better quality of life changes this year. The 6.1.0 patch was arguably the biggest update in DBD history, and the biggest change in this was the new prestige system, which changed the max prestiges from 3 to 100 and made it so that when you prestige you don't lose your item, and you have a different reward up to the 9th prestige, where prestiges 1 through 3 unlock that character's teachable perks, prestige 4 to 6 unlocks that character's prestige cosmetics, and prestiges 7 through 9 unlock that character's charms for their teachable perks, which is brand new. A new Shrine of Secrets was also introduced, going along with the prestige teachable change. So now whenever you buy a perk in the Shrine of Secrets, it automatically goes to all of the characters' inventories at level 1, and you could buy that perk again in the shrine 2 more times for a total of 3 times to get that perk up to tier 2 and tier 3 on everybody, similar to the prestige system. Base kit borrow time was also introduced in this new update, where any survivor that gets unhooked has the endurance status effect and also the haste status effect for 10 seconds after they get unhooked, which led to a lot less hard tunneling, which was really nice for the health of the game. A ton of perks received buffs and nerfs on both sides, but Mantra Shrine, Borrowed Time, Dead Hard, Dark Sense, Off the Record, Spine Chill, and We're Gonna Live Forever all got completely reworked. Mantra Shrine got changed into a pretty decent Scourge Hook. Borrowed Time got reworked to extend the base kit duration and effects. Dead Hard got reworked to give the endurance on a hit instead of immortality in short distance. Dark Sense got reworked to see the killer's aura whenever they come near you after a gen completion. Off the Record is now one of the best perks in the game and got reworked to give you an extra endurance hit after every unhook. Spine Chill got reworked to now give strength for the tear radius, and We're Gonna Live Forever doesn't give blood points anymore and now gives an endurance hit for people you revive from the dying state. We also have brand new generator times. They take 90 seconds to complete solo instead of 80 seconds, which for the 5 generators you need to complete in a trial means 50 more seconds of gen times. Another one of the best quality of life features, the matchmaking incentives, were also introduced to balance out the queue times, where if you're playing on the side that really needs more players, you can get up to double the blood points or 100% bonus blood points matchmaking incentives, which is awesome. And Tome 12 featuring Jonah and the Blight, along with the disastrous orange glyph, were introduced, where the orange glyph was actually temporarily disabled because it was just terrible to look at, and then reworked to what it is today. The 6.2.0 patch introduced chapter 25 called the Resident Evil Project W, which was the second Resident Evil chapter we've had in DBD, and introduced Albert Wesker as the new killer and his 3 teachables, and 2 new survivors, Ada Wong and Rebecca Chambers, and their 6 teachables. No new map was introduced into this chapter, but the already existing RPD map got split in 2, so we basically got an extra new map where we now have RPD East Wing and RPD West Wing, where the East Wing is the middle portion and the right side of the RPD map, and the West Wing is the left side and the middle portion of the RPD. We also got brand new blood web prices to make everything super cheap. And although this is amazing and makes prestiging and grinding for blood points and leveling up that much easier, blood webs now take forever to complete now. So DBD in 2023, please add either tap to click instead of holding the buying button for the blood webs, or make it so that we can just buy levels outright, which could speed up the process so much more. Streamer options in the settings were also added on PC to improve the privacy on your end and also what other players see in the lobby. The 6.3.0 patch introduced the Haunted by Daylight event starting on October 13, which was DBD's annual Halloween event, and in my opinion probably the best event we've ever had in the game, which we were able to unlock a bunch of Halloween themed sweaters and cosmetics. A new archive slot got introduced, so you now have 2 slots, one for survivors and one for killers. This just makes it a lot more convenient whenever you're switching sides in different matches. You won't have to constantly switch your challenge as well, and it's now a one tap click to complete the challenges in the archives instead of having to press and hold, which is exactly what they need to do to the blood webs now. Tome 13 featuring Michaela and Ghostface was also introduced, along with the pink glyph, which is probably my second favorite glyph. It's super fun to find. The 6.4.0 patch introduced chapter 26 called Forged in Fog, which featured a new killer called the Knight and his 3 guards and 3 teachables, and a new survivor called Vittorio Toscano and his 3 teachables, along with a new map called the Shattered Square, which also got a bunch of visual changes to make it a lot less orange, because scratch marks on the killer side were much too difficult to see with the red hue everywhere on the map. Survivor bots were introduced into custom matches, so now you can go in as a killer into a custom match alone with 4 or however many bots you want, just to practice killer and new builds, which is honestly a really good feature. And don't worry, for you survivor mains that want to practice alone, killer bots are coming in the future, hopefully in 2023. Flashlights were completely updated and they're basically new now. You can't spam click flashlights anymore for accessibility reasons. Every click consumes a lot more charges and it's a lot slower now. And on top of that, the flashlight timings were completely reworked, and they added a buffer zone at the end of the killer pickup animation, where if you hit it a little bit after the animation is ended, you're still going to get the save. So they're now a lot easier to hit and a lot more beginner friendly. A brand new basement, pallets, and breakable doors were introduced. I think the basement looks a lot better than it did before, has a lot more details. I think the pallets look a little bit less good than they did before, but we're probably going to really easily get used to it. And the breakable doors as well, I think they looked a little bit better last time, but we'll also get used to those as well. The 6.4.2 patch introduced the Bone Chill event, which started on December 8th, and at the time of this recording, we're still in it right now, and it's ending really soon. And this is DBD's winter event, and we were able to unlock a bunch of winter and Christmas themed cosmetics. And that brings us to right now in the current present, where we're about to start 2023 with a bunch of new additions in the horizon, and I'm super excited to see the direction DBD goes into this year. So yeah guys, those were all 40 things added into DBD this year. Comment down below what your favorite and your least favorite addition was into 2022 DBD. So yeah guys, that's been the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you're new. This has been Sharpshaw, and I will see you guys in the next video.